What kind of man takes a janitor job just to keep his daughter fed and somehow ends up fixing a billionaire's fractured family, without even trying? They said no maid survived more than 12 hours in the Callahan mansion. But then came this quiet, broad-shouldered single dad, and by nightfall one of the Callahan kids had left for the first time in years. It was late morning when Harrison Wade pulled his beat-up Ford to the security gate, his 6-year-old daughter Emily beside him, clutching her stuffed rabbit like a lifeline. She hadn't spoken in months, not since her mother's accident, not since he'd come home from deployment to find his world unrecognizable. The Marines had taught him to survive war zones, but not how to navigate school drop-offs or bedtime tears that never came with words. Inside, the Callahan house gleamed like a museum-polished marble, perfect flowers, air too still to feel alive. Lyra Callahan, heels clicking like punctuation marks, gave him 24 hours and strict rules: clean, don't talk to the kids unless they speak first, and keep his daughter in the truck. He nodded, no argument. The 3 children, Lily, Isaac, and Ivy, watched him from behind a fortress of blankets and chairs. No smiles, no welcome. They'd driven away 17 maids in 4 months and looked ready to make him number 18. He didn't flinch when Ivy hurled a juice box his way or when their silent scrutiny followed his every move. He just worked quietly around their barricade. By the next morning, the kids had a planned Operation Scare the Janitor, complete with traps and booby traps drawn in crayon. A bucket of cold water was their opening strike. It drenched him, but instead of snapping, he bowed like a stage actor, faked a dramatic fall, and declared himself slain by the Marshmallow Kingdom. It earned them something they hadn't given in years: laughter. Real, unguarded, messy laughter. Even Dylan, the youngest, cracked from upstairs. Lyra watched on the security feed, expression unreadable. She tried experts, coaches, endless discipline, none had reached them. Yet here was a janitor, turning their weariness into giggles without even crossing their rules. That didn't mean she softened. She warned him again: no contact, no talking to them. He agreed, but when he found Dylan drawing lonely pictures under his bed or saw Emily sketching quietly in the garden beside him, he didn't interfere. He just let the moments happen. Then came the snow day when Emily went missing during a game. Panic rippled through the house until Harrison found her in the woods, sitting beneath a pine tree, holding an old funeral card from her mother's service one he'd once hidden there himself. "I knew you'd find me," she whispered when he wrapped her in his arms. Bringing her back, he told Lyra simply, she just needed to feel remembered. Something shifted in Lyra's eyes then, a crack in her polished armor. The next days brought small rebellions against the rules. He told them stories while mopping, about castles that shrank unless someone left before midnight. Ava secretly recorded him. Lyra overheard, called it a contract violation, and told him to pack. But that night, she found Ava curled up listening to the recording, and she didn't delete it. Little by little, the house thawed. Emily and Dylan drew side by side. Ava stopped glaring long enough to hand him a handmade Dad No. 2 contract. They staged a wedding with candy rings and a high five instead of a kiss. Lyra didn't join in, but she didn't stop it either. One morning she met him at the door, holding out a silver key on a tag edged with "Welcome Home." He almost refused until the kids launched Operation Official Family Initiation with slime, glitter, and cookies. Emily handed him a crayon to sign their contract. Purple, her favorite. He signed, and the cheer that followed could have shaken the chandeliers. Months passed. The mansion no longer felt like a fortress. There was sidewalk chalk on the patio, drawings covering the fridge, one from Emily showing the 5 of them in front of the castle that we left in. Lyra taped it next to Ava's first picture and murmured, "Good problem to have." When he teased they were running out of fridge space, one spring evening, he took Emily to the pine tree in the garden and showed her the wind chime they hung there. "If you ever feel alone and you hear this, it means someone loves you with everything they have," he told her. She looked at him, steady now, and said, I love you too, Dad. The word froze him not because she spoke, but because it was the first time she'd called him that. He held her, the chime singing above them. From the window, Lara watched, smiling softly before turning back inside to the kitchen. There was dinner to make, laughter waiting in the next room. On the fridge, two drawings hung side by side, one from when love was only a wish, the other from now, when love had become a fact. And if you stood in the Callahan garden at dusk, you might hear the wind chimes song, not loud, not insistent, just a reminder of second chances, of broken things made whole, and of a family built not by law or blood, but by the choice to stay. Now I want to hear from you. Was Harrison right that all kids really need is to be seen? Or was Lara right that warmth alone can't fix what's broken? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because somewhere out there, someone needs to hear what you believe. They say every family has that one day they wish they could erase. And for us, it came on the first truly warm afternoon of summer. The Callahan garden was buzzing with life, Ava running with a plastic sword, Dylan trying to build a lemonade stand out of cardboard, Emily drawing quietly under the shade of the pine tree, but none of us knew the storm was already on its way. And this one didn't come from the sky. It started with the car. A black SUV, tinted windows, rolling up the curved driveway without so much as a call ahead. Lara froze the moment she saw it from her office window. Harrison noticed too. He'd been carrying a tray of lemonade glasses to the porch, but the way his shoulders squared told me this wasn't a neighbor dropping by. The door opened, and out stepped a man in an immaculate navy suit, carrying a leather briefcase and the kind of smile that never touched his eyes. Uncle Nathan, Lara said, voice clicked like she was biting into something sour. The kids stiffened instantly. Even Emily, who'd never met him, seemed to sense the air change. Harrison didn't move, just stood on the porch, glass of lemonade in one hand like it could double as a shield if things got ugly. Nathan didn't bother with greetings. Heard you hired yourself a janitor, he said, gaze sliding over Harrison as though measuring and dismissing him in the same breath. And from what I hear, he's been playing daddy in my brother's house. Lara told him this wasn't the time, but Nathan wasn't here for timing. He was here with papers, guardianship reviews, financial oversight notices, all wrapped in legalese. The board is concerned, he said smoothly. And so am I. You let an outsider into the core of this family, and I intend to know why. The kids didn't hear every word, but they felt it. Ava's paper soared lower. Dylan abandoned his lemonade stand. Emily's pencil stopped midline. Harrison finally set the tray down, stepped off the porch, and met Nathan halfway, posture calm but unyielding. You want to know why? He asked. Because I stayed when no one else did. Nathan smirked. Everyone stays for the right price. That was the first jab. The second came when Nathan leaned down toward Emily and said, Sweetheart, does this man tell you what to do? She shrank back, eyes flicking to Harrison. He didn't answer for her, just stepped between them with a single, deliberate motion that made Nathan straighten up fast. Lara intervened, voice cold enough to frost the summer air. She told Nathan he was done here. He laughed, but not without a final glance at Harrison that promised this wasn't over. And it wasn't because that night, Lara found a formal letter slipped under her office door. A petition to review the children's living arrangements, signed by her own family. Over the next week, the house shifted. Lara was sharper, distracted. Harrison kept his distance, following her earlier rule even though they both knew it was useless now. The kids sensed the tension, but it was Emily who acted first. One evening, she appeared at Harrison's door with her sketchbook open to a new drawing him, Lara, the kids, and a big padlock over the house. Underneath, in her careful block letters, don't let them take us. That was the twist he hadn't expected. Emily, who once couldn't speak, was asking him to fight. And so he did, in his way. He wasn't a lawyer, but he started gathering proof, not just security footage of the laughter and the games, But the small moments no one else saw. Ava reading to Dylan, Emily handing Lyra a flower from the garden, the fridge filling up with drawings that had nothing to do with money and everything to do with family. The climax came 2 weeks later, in a cramped mediation room downtown. Nathan sat with his attorney, eyes gleaming like this was already won. Lyra was posed but pale. Harrison, in his only suit, stood when it was his turn and simply said, "I'm not here to talk about wealth or titles. I'm here to talk about staying. These kids have lost enough people. They don't need another stranger deciding where they sleep." He slid Emily's sketch across the table. Nathan looked down at it like it was a foreign language. The mediator didn't. She saw exactly what it meant. "We never heard the exact words that ended it confidentiality," they said, but Nathan left with a scowl, and the review was quietly dropped. Back at the house, the kids celebrated with paper crowns and popcorn. Lyra poured 2 glasses of wine, handed one to Harrison, and for the first time called him by his first name without formality. And yet, even in the glow of that victory, there was a shadow. Later that night, Harrison found Emily at the pine tree, tying a new ribbon to the wind chime. "In case another storm comes," she said softly, "so it knows where to find us." He didn't tell her storms have a way of finding you whether you're ready or not. He just tied the knot tighter, the chime swaying gently in the warm summer breeze. The ending? Well, that's where you come in. Do you think a family built on trust can withstand the weight of blood and legacy when they collide? Or is staying only enough until the next Nathan shows up?